It's one of the most difficult forms of racing, and it's largely due to the fact that we just don't do a whole lot of it. Restrictor plate racing. That's right. When it comes to restrictor plate racing, I get a ton of questions from people on how they can get better at it, and it's largely due to the fact that we only run 4 of those races a year. And when it comes to the next gen cup car, we are at a huge disadvantage because we can't practice using AI racing. You see, in the NASCAR truck and Xfinity, it's actually pretty easy because we can just go out and do an AI race, crank up the settings, and now we can practice drafting using AI, and it gives us a really good opportunity to just log laps and get used to all of the things that we don't experience on a weekly basis in the official series, like the draft, the bubble, the feeling of turbulence, all of those different types of things. But with the next gen cup car, we don't have that option. So how can we improve our restrictor plate racing without having to go out and find a dozen people for a practice session? Well, in today's Fast Friday video, I'm going to show you a very simple but kind of different little trick that you can do so you can get out and actually practice restrictor plate racing and do it by yourself and know that you are getting good quality laps in the draft. What's up, everybody? Thomas Brandon here. Thank you very much as always for joining me, and welcome to another Fast Friday video. Now, really quick, apologies for last week. I did not get out a Fast Friday video. My son has had baseball and things have just been so crazy with his baseball schedule. And even though this week today is Good Friday, I can actually get one out today and couldn't get one out last week. But regardless, I wanted to get this out even with the holidays, and I wanted to do it because we have Talladega coming up this next week, and we have it in the Xfinity, the truck, and more importantly, the next gen, right? Or the NIS series. Now, like I said a few minutes ago, when you want to practice drafting in the truck or the Xfinity, it's very simple. Just go do an AI race, all right? And I'll show you here in just a minute how you can do how you can set up an AI race and do it in a way that will allow you to get really good practice in the draft. I'll show you the settings that I personally use, and it works really, really well. It's how I build the setups for restrictor plate racing, which is really important because a lot of people will build their setups by themselves, and then they go out and they get in the draft and they find out that their car's, bottoming out. They got sparks flying everywhere. It's just a real problem. So I'll show you the settings that I use for the Xfinity and the truck, but then I'm going to show you how I actually test in the next gen car, and I do it by myself, which is a huge time saver and makes it much more convenient because I don't need to have a dozen people out there on track with me. All right, so let's get 5 minutes on the clock and let's head over and let's take a look at this real quick. All right, so first things first here, if you want to practice with the truck or the Xfinity, it's really, really simple, okay? You just go to AI Racing, all right? And look, they've got rosters that you can get from Trading Paints that have got, the real life drivers and cars and paints on, stuff like that. And that's pretty cool. But for me, my thing is I just want the skill levels to be where I want it to be so I can get the practice in that I want to get. And I find that this combination is what works best for me, okay? So just go to single race. All right, select the track, Talladega or Daytona. I would recommend this week doing Talladega since that's what's on the schedule. You can choose this stuff if you want: cautions, fast repairs, wave arounds, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. Select your car. All right, race options. Obviously, this stuff, once again, choose what you want to do. This tire stuff, we don't really need to do that because we're doing cup racing, not F1. You can, if you want to disable damage, you can do that. If you disable damage, treat it like you have damage on, though. Don't be out there just banging off the AI cars. Otherwise, you're not gonna learn anything, right? So, weather. What I always do is I will generate the weather and the sky, okay? And then I always do a really long practice because I'm building the setup, and then I qualify, see if the qualifying works, and then I'll do like a 30 or 40 lap race, okay? And then the AI opponents, I select all of the cars, right? It's really, really simple. Just click on Xfinity series, okay? You got the Camaro, the Mustang, the Supra. I will do 32 drivers. And then for my skill spread, I want to set it at aliens, which I run a skill spread of 15%. So I go from 85 to 100. The reason I do that is you want to have some skill spread in there because you want to try to simulate an official race. Now, depending on your I rating, okay, it's going to really depend on, how high this level would be. um, I wouldn't consider myself running with aliens in the official races. Like my I rating on asphalt oval is only like 1600 or 1700. But for me, I do this because if I do this also for when I'm just building insider setups, even if it's at a track like Chicago or Atlanta or whatever, because I know that if I have a setup that is good enough to run at this skill level, then it should be at least good enough to have speed in an official series, even in higher splits. So that's why I do this. But for you, set this to whatever you're comfortable with in the beginning. But for me, I have found when it comes to drafting, 85 to 100 seems to work the best in all of the testing I've done, and I've tested a lot of different spreads. So in the drafting, 85 to 100 seems good. Track conditions, I have it generated. And then time of day, I will always schedule it to what the race is in the schedule for iRacing. Okay, so for Talladega, I think it's like 2:15 or something like that, 2:20. I have it set at 2 p.m. because I run such a long practice. And then, the qualifying and the race will just automatically carry over, but I always set the date and the time exactly to what the iRacing schedule is, so that way when the weather and all that stuff is generated, it's going to be close to what it is in the official race. All right, so that's the way that I do it. And you just hit continue, and it'll start the AI race. Okay, now here's the thing. When it comes to the truck and the Xfinity, that's really simple because we can pick those. But here's the deal. We can't pick the NextGen Cup car, right? We can't pick that. So herein lies the problem. How do we practice with the NextGen Cup car? Well, I'm going to show you right now. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go to hosted races, okay? And you're going to create a race. All right, we're going to do a new race, okay? And I'll just name this test session. All right, now I put in a password because obviously I'm doing this by myself. All right, and the password for this can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, server details, we'll start it now because I'm testing right now by myself. Admins, obviously I'm going to be the only admin. Time limit, this is really up to you, however you want to do this. For me, I do open practice, lone qualifier, and then race, okay? And I'm going to set this actually pretty long if I'm going to be doing a really long test. I will do my practice like that long, and then my race, I will set it for laps, and I'll do, let's just say 50 laps. Weather, once again, like I said, I'll generate it. Now here's what you have to do. Okay, for your car, go and select the NextGen Cup car. Okay, we're going to select the NASCAR NextGen Cup car. I got the Chevy, so I'm going to select that car. Okay, now when I add the track, we go down here to Talladega, track options. Okay, this stuff here. But now AI opponents. Well, here's the problem. We can't select our AI opponents, huh? Like, that's a problem. So what do we have to do? Well, here's the thing. We're going to go back to cars. We're going to add some cars here. The cars that we're going to add the Xfinity series cars, okay? So we're going to add the NASCAR Xfinity Camaro, Xfinity Ford Mustang, Xfinity Toyota Supra, all right? And now when we get to AI opponents, now we can click on this, generate roster, and what does it say? Not all cars selected for this session are AI enabled. Only AI enabled cars will be used for the generated roster. Those are the Xfinity cars that we selected, right? So now I can turn this up to aliens, okay? And we can do 32 drivers, generate. I don't know, I didn't check the schedule. We'll just pretend that this is the time, all right? And check out. Now, here's the bad thing. For this, you have to pay. It is a hosted session, so you have to pay for it, all right? That's the only downside to it. But it's going to allow you to actually get drafting practice with other cars. And believe it or not, the practice that you get with the NextGen car out there with the Xfinity cars is actually very good. This is how I built my Daytona 500 setup, and it turned out really, really good. And it's how I got practice in this car, because these cars are similar to the Xfinity car, right? Obviously, they're still very different, but the Xfinity car is far more symmetrical. Remember the Gen 6 Cup car, right? You had the one side that was flat, the other side protruding way far out, like it was completely different. This, because the Xfinity cars actually run the composite bodies, and there's much more in line with it in terms of the body shape, which is what we're looking for. Remember, this is all about aerodynamics. It's all about the draft. This is a very good way to practice and test without having to go out and find, a half a dozen other people to do a hosted session with you and get out there and draft with you. This works really, really well, and it's how I build my setups and how I test for drafting using the NextGen Cup car. All right, you guys, so that's going to do it all for this video. I hope this helps you, and I hope this allows you to get out there and actually get some testing done. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to do it the way that I did it, 3 hours with practice, qualifying, testing. You can just do like 30 AI cars and set it up on a practice. The AI cars will go out there and they'll draft and everything during the practice. I mean, they will. I've done numerous sessions like this, and they'll do that. So if you're just looking to practice drafting off cars, you can do that. If you want to actually practice racing in the draft and stuff like that, then you can set it up as a race. It's however you want. Just make sure that you select those cars and then select that generate roster, and it'll generate it for the Xfinity cars. And then when you go into the test session, make sure that you select the next gen car, so you are the one driving that. All right, and like I said, it works, and it works well. All right, now, is it identical to what you were going to feel when you're out there with all the other next-gen cars? No, but it does a very, very good job of filling the gap and allowing you to get some laps in by yourself, which, like we talked about, is crucial, especially considering the fact that we only run 4 of these races a year. So it's not a big test, right? Like, there's not a lot of people out there who are constantly like, hey, let's get some laps in at Talladega, right? Like, that doesn't happen. So it's a very good way for you to log laps, get comfortable in the draft, which is really, really important. And that way, when you get out onto the track in the official race, you hopefully are comfortable and have the confidence to go out there and do what you need to do and get those good results. So that's going to do it. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. Now, really quick, do me a favor. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit that like button. Also, make sure to subscribe, share, all that other stuff that, we always talk about doing, please. Or leave a comment down below. Also, if there's anything that you want me to cover in terms of a Fast Friday video or anything else like that, leave me a comment down below. I do check the comments. I don't read them always. I know there's some videos out there, some of the first videos I've ever put out are still getting comments on them. Like, I don't go back and check those. I'm sorry. If I did that, I'd be doing nothing but reading comments. But the newer videos, I do check the comments the first few days. So that way, if somebody does post something or anything like that, I can see it, read it, build, create a new video, whatever it is, that people talk about. So if you want any ideas or anything like that, leave it down below. Also, if you want to join me, I do live stream a couple nights a week. Right now, it is kind of hit and miss because of my son's baseball schedule. I will be live streaming tonight. I think I'm going to be actually running the NIS Bristol Dirt Race, which I had said I wasn't going to run, but I think I'm going to try running it. If not, I'll be live streaming something else. I don't know. I'll be running something. But if you want to join me for that, you can. We got a great group that comes out. It's a lot of fun. And then you can also join our new winner circle here on the YouTube channel. And big shout out to all of you guys who've already done that. It's like $2.99, call it $3 a month. And you get like emotes, you get access to the live streaming recordings and stuff like that. And it's just one of those things that, when we were on Twitch, we had people who were subscribed. And since we moved over to YouTube, I've had people asking me if there's a way to subscribe like they did on Twitch. And I hadn't even created it because I didn't even know I could do that, to be honest with you. And so I just did it. So if you're interested in that, you can do that as well. If not, whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's gonna do it. So anyways, you guys, thank you very much as always. I really appreciate you guys coming out. And until next time, I want to wish you good luck, good racing. Take care.